Compare your journey only with your journey. That's the only comparison that makes sense. Hello, I'm Taida. I'm a mindset and transformational coach. That's a bit hyper because I've just been listening to BTS a little bit. But today, or in this video, I want to share with you how to stop comparing yourself to others and just really focus on yourself. And let me just tell you, as someone who has been playing the comparison game her whole life, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. I've been in your shoes. I feel what you're feeling. I feel you. And that is why I really want to share with you how you can overcome that, so you can really focus on yourself and not only stop comparing yourself to other people, but really wishing them well on their journey and wishing yourself well and rooting for you on your journey as well. So let's get started. Obviously, we all tend to compare ourselves with other people. It's completely normal and everyone does it, and it's just a part of it's a very important reason why we're here, and I want to just share with you a little why comparisons are important in the first place. They're not here in order for us to feel either less or more. They're really here so that we can get a sense for what we actually want and what we don't want. Because when you see a person, when you see something and you compare where they are, or you compare their life circumstances with your own, you either get two reactions. You're either like, oh, I don't like that at all, I never want that, or you go into the, oh my God, how are they there already? That's insane, and I'm still here. And you step into the comparison where you're basically deep down wanting what they have. And that's where I want to kind of bring it back to. My friend, she does something that I call healthy comparisons, my best friend, because as she does compare herself to other people, which we've now established is completely normal, but she doesn't rank herself lower. Sometimes she ranks herself higher, which is, again, a topic for another discussion. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, as I want to just stress it out. But she doesn't rank herself lower. And what we do a lot of times is, this is us, and then we see, I don't know, someone who's more successful or has more money or has something that we want to have, and then automatically we push them up and we push ourselves down, and that doesn't feel good, does it? And then we get annoyed at the other person, and we get mad at the other person, and we feel bad, and we feel like our self-worth is very low. And yeah, that's where the comparison game can take a twisted turn. Something that's important to notice here is, and I briefly mentioned this before, the moment you see someone and they have something that you want to have, you either get annoyed at them, because if they have something you don't want to have, you're not even going to pay attention. You're just going to be like, oh, I never want to be like that. Oh, I never want to do that. And that's just going to be a signal to you as, I choose not to be like that. That's not me. And that's what life is bringing you. That's why it's bringing all of these comparisons to you, so that you can keep on discovering who you are. And in this instance, you just discovered, no, that's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. And in the other case, when you have someone who already has something that you have, maybe they're more confident, maybe they're more outspoken, and or they have something physical that you want to have, I don't know, a new iPhone, and you don't currently have the finance to afford it, or whatever it is for you. When it comes to them, instead of, and when you start paying attention that like they're annoying you, or that you kind of start talking bad about them, or you just don't feel good communicating with them or even seeing them around because it triggers negative emotions, that's where it's a perfect time for you to ask yourself and to really, again, slow it down and ask yourself, okay, wait. Something's triggering me about this. That person is triggering something in me. What do I want? What do I actually want in this case? And what you're gonna notice is that you're probably wanting what they have, and you've been blocking yourself from getting that same thing. And that's why you've been playing the comparison game. So instead of focusing on them and, oh my God, what person are they and whatever, focus on what you want that they have. For example, they have a car that you actually really want, and instead of being angry at them for having something that you want, step into the leader of your life and say to yourself, they have something I want that car. How can I get that car? And go back and be resourceful and really find that within you. Don't put the focus on them anymore. Put the focus on you. And this is time where you can really take responsibility. To be honest, like, they did a freaking good job by getting that car, isn't it? Like, they had to work. And I'll give you another example with my best friend. But I started the story before, I didn't really end it, but she's one of the biggest teachers that I have in my life. And a scenario I feel like most of you will be able to recognize yourself in is 2 years ago or 3 years ago, she lost a bunch of weight. And for women, I don't recommend you losing weight, but for women, a lot of our beliefs are tied to the beauty standards and that we have to be skinny to be pretty and to be wanted. And so it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of us, and that also triggered something in me. As she was losing weight, I was getting triggered about my own weight and about how I feel in the body that I have, and whether I also have to lose weight and why I can't lose weight, and so on and so on. And I kept comparing myself to her, and also on the level of, okay, so she's skinnier and therefore prettier and more wanted. And that didn't feel good. And it took me a year actually to really come to the bottom of what was underneath there. It wasn't that I wanted to be skinny, but I did want to feel good in my body and to feel wanted, and that's what she was feeling in that moment. And instead of being mad at her, because that's what came up first, was, what? How can she, you know how we, especially women, how could she lose that much weight and blah, blah, blah. And then our ego is talking, and we kind of want to diss the person a little bit. But in reality, we kind of want what they have. So instead of dissing her, I really separated my wish from her. And I was like, okay, what do you actually want? So do you want to feel confident in your body? Do you want to feel, I don't know, pretty, I don't know, like, what else, all the things. And then I just asked myself, okay, how can you do it? Because let me tell you something, she lost a lot of weight, but she put a lot of effort into that. It didn't happen overnight. She was paying attention to what she was eating. She was working out a lot. She was really starting to look after her and look after her body. And then I was comparing myself, and I was doing maybe 20% of the stuff that she did, and wondering why my results were different than her results. Something else that often happens when we compare ourselves to other people is that we compare our first step to their, I don't know, 100th step, and then we can get really mean to ourselves and really put ourselves down for something that it's impossible to compare. Like, these comparisons are absolutely, how could you compare a child? at 3 years old to a teenager. Like, it's a process. They need to go through the growth process. These are the steps that they have to take. And isn't it completely, we would never compare a 3-year-old to a 14-year-old, and yet that's something we do on a daily basis. For example, you compare yourself if you want to, I don't know, let's say if you want to have a business and you see someone who's been doing it for 4 years and they've had their own thing and now it's finally blowing up and they have people coming and it's blooming and it feels like everyone's getting to know, like everyone knows their name and everyone knows what they do, and you've just started. How can you compare that? It took them 4 years. It took them, it's a process to get there. And I mean, speaking of, I think about this a lot because it's currently my favorite band, but I also like to compare. For example, just take BTS. Like, they didn't become a major star overnight. They've literally been working for 10 years. Now they're like one of the biggest bands on the planet, but it didn't happen overnight. And how can, if I start singing right now and I'm like, oh, I want to be a singer, how can I compare myself to them 10 years in? Like, can you imagine how much experience they've had, how much practice they've had, how much time they invested in that, in their growth and in their success? And then I'm here like barely starting, I don't know, my singing career for 2 months and then being like, oh no, like I'm never gonna be successful and BTS is so amazing. Yes, they are amazing, but you're also amazing and you're also gonna be better. And that brings me to my next point, and this is one of the highlights from one of my favorite Croatian motivational speakers, Srđan Roje. And he has a channel, by the way, it's called Manifesting in English if you're interested. And I say this to all of my clients because it's just like the best thing you can say ever. So this comes from him. This isn't from me, but so he says, when you start something, you often have this crippling self-doubt and comparison. You're comparing yourself to other people and you say, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm just not good enough, and I don't have, I don't know, let's stick with the BTS topic, I don't have the experience, I don't have the range, I don't have the looks or whatever. And so when you're in that mindset, just remember, you are not good enough yet. Of course you're not. And it's completely okay because you're just starting. No one starts by being perfect. Listen, Beyonce had to start somewhere. Even Beyonce started somewhere, and you have to start somewhere as well. And the sooner you accept the fact that right now, right this minute, you're not as good as you'd like to be, the sooner you're going to be able to allow yourself to grow. And the key is, in those moments, to not believe that voice in your head that you're not good enough, but just say, you know what? Okay, I get it, I'm not good enough, but it's okay because I'm just in the beginning of my journey, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep on practicing. I'm gonna keep on working on my craft. I'm gonna keep on learning. I'm gonna keep on, gaining experiences and getting better and better and better. And that's how you're gonna step out of the comparison game and out of the mindset that you're not good enough in comparison with someone else. So don't compare yourself to other people, and compare your journey only with your journey. That's the only comparison that makes sense, because if you look back, you're always going to see growth. Always. And you're going to be so proud. And you can even right this second just take a second or take a minute and really think about where you were a year ago. So today is what, by the time this comes out, it's going to be middle of October. think where you were last October in the terms of your life circumstances, in the terms of how you were feeling, in the terms of your consciousness level, in the terms of your personal development growth. Think about where you were then and think about where you are now, or even think about how you look at relationships, or where you are in business or in your job, or what you've learned. And you're going to see that you are growing exponentially on all levels. And that's the comparison that you should be focusing on, not on the comparisons with other people. And just please, please, please remember that other people are only here to give us an opportunity to see what we actually want and what we don't want, and who we want to be and who we don't want to be. They are here in our service. I hope this was helpful. Please leave a comment below, leave a like and subscribe and become a part of this community. I'm so happy you stayed until here. And if there's anyone in your life that you feel like this could massively help and support them on their journey, share it with them and join me for my next video. I can't wait to see you there. Bye. Oh, I feel like an old lady. Wasn't that good?